Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started. What's going on, brother?
I've got camera envy. I want a camera like yours. I like the background.
Always following my lead. It's just a camera. It's all good. You look great, buddy. You look great.
Just a camera.
I know you ordered new office equipment, new computer screens, a new desk, a new setup, the whole nine. Did it arrive?
Most of it. Some of it got delivered to the old place because it auto-populated the address. I've had to get it couriered down, but I'm hoping that by next week, by the time we're recording, I'll be set up, which would just be so sweet if that is the case. So we shall see.
It's a lot of problems with things getting delivered to the wrong address over there. It seems.
Seems, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does. It's funny. I'll take a picture and show you my setup. I don't know if you've seen my full setup before, in all its glory. It's hard to describe, and you can obviously we can see each other, and people watching this on YouTube can, but I can share the screen. But it is awesome having just a wall of screens, panel of screens, and a supercomputer. But I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful, very lucky, and very blessed to have this. So, Tim, today I want to talk about a question that I got from one of our guys currently going through the program. And he just started. Great guy. Absolutely fantastic business leader, of course. That's who we work with. And so he was just frustrated. And he's like, man, Doug, my wife, and this is recently for him. So basically what's happening is his wife will get on and FaceTime her family, right? Get on, talk to her mom and dad, her brother, her sister, and FaceTime them on a regular basis. It's COVID, etc., but leaves him out of it, right? The kids are included. He walks in the room. She says goodbye, hangs up, or keeps talking and doesn't like, hey, Jim's here. His name's not Jim, but doesn't include him in that mix. Now, family is extremely important to her. However, he's not included. And he's like, man, she says it's an accident, but a little time, you start wondering what's really going on here, like what's happening. So I started probing a little deeper with him. I started asking him what's going on. How's the marriage? How's your relationship? It's like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Things are all right. Now, obviously, he's going through the activation method right now. So things have improved, but he came in, because the marriage was hurting. There's a couple other things going on as well. And so I started talking to him about it. And as he described the scene, it reminded me of something that happened with Erin and I, right? When Erin and I weren't, Erin's my wife, for those that don't know, when Erin and I were going through a rough time, right? And she's very attached to her family, very family oriented. One of the reasons I married her, right? Because I came from a broken family, parents divorced, etc. And her love of family and her strength with the family ideology, I guess, knowing that we were going to have kids, or at least try to have kids at the time together, was one of the things I thought, okay, this woman's worth marrying for me. It was literally a deciding factor for me. And I remember when we were going through a hard time, Erin was doing something similar like this, where she was connecting more with her family and leaving me out of those connections, right? And so the same thing was happening. Now, this guy's going through COVID, right? So his wife probably feels more isolated than she has before, and she can't see her family. And so what I told him was going on, we've started to dissect this, and I'm guessing a few other guys listening to this can relate. If your wife is pulling away, now, especially if she's pulling away and going to her friends and family, she's probably distancing herself from you. If the relationship isn't working out, she's starting to slowly untangle. And what I mean by that, guys, is chances are, and this is not always, but chances are she's starting to build a case with her family and her relatives, the people that if you guys get divorced and separate, that she's going to be around. She's building a relationship with them without you now. And the reason she's doing that, one, obviously she's lonely, but two, is she's doing it so she knows she has a safe jump off spot, a safe landing space, so to speak, right? So she's scared. Your relationship's not working out. Things aren't going well. She's super lonely. What's going to happen? She's considering divorce, considering separation, perhaps. And that's what this guy was telling me, right? So now, oh, shoot, what? If I leave him, I'm alone. I'm a single woman with these kids, a divorcee. And what are my parents going to say? What are my friends going to say? So she starts building a narrative, Tim, without him. She starts building the relationship without him, so that leap to being a single woman, a divorcee, right? She can land on a safe spot where the story is he was a jerk, he was this, he was that, he was unattentive, whatever it is. And she may not even be saying mean things. They just know that she's unhappy. They love her. They're in more relationship with her. If she's unhappy, then ergo, it's his fault, et cetera, et cetera. So she's creating the space. Now, before I go into how to get out of this, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I bet this is going on quite a lot right now. I can imagine it would be anyway. And it must suck to be in that position, especially, because it works both ways as well. Because obviously some guys that might be working from home, work has been the place that they've escaped to, going out the door and going into the office and being the man and getting all that significance and all that fun stuff. And then, trying to replicate that on Zoom, it's just not going to have the same effect. And then, coming out of your home office and walking into the living room and feeling, isolated and left out, it's going to suck, right? And at the same time, if you find yourself in this position, guys, obviously we're going to dive into how to get out of it, but, I would be engaging with her, just get a temperature check of where you're at as well, right? Because she may just not be including you because she's just not thought to include you, or you're busy, or she doesn't want to burden you, or whatever. If you start to ask, oh, so what did your mum say? And she's like, yeah, nothing, just the usual. And you go, okay, but you must have said something, and she's not opening up, then you know that she definitely, most likely, is untangling. You might think, maybe she's tired, no homeschooling, maybe if that's what you're doing. Maybe she's tired, which might be true. If it was me in that instance, I would, make some suggestions at some other times. But I'd maybe even suggest, hey, how about we get together with everybody on Zoom and just really get a good temperature check for where I am actually at. What is the plan here? Because I think you've got to know where you are before we go into the next bit, I imagine anyway, of how to get out of it. So yeah, I'm all ears for the next part.
Yeah, so I agree with you, but I also had a caveat here. So for a lot of men, in my opinion, and we'll do this on another podcast, and what's the difference between alpha and beta, because a lot of people get that wrong. But a lot of guys, in my opinion, have not been leading the relationship. And so if they come across, guys, if you come across too needy and too suspicious of the situation, you're falling right into the beta trap, so to speak, where she has to be dominant, right? Because you're coming across as needy. Now, Tim, I know that's not what you meant, and I know it's not an issue for you, but for a lot of guys, it is, right? They've been the nice guy and they've been needy. So they come across, hey, babe, how come every time I come up here, your wife, you're on the phone with your mom. She's on the phone with her wife. That's a whole nother kink. But you're on the phone with your mom, your dad, your cousin, whatever, whoever it is. And I come in and you shut it down or you ignore me, right? This guy was saying his kids are a little bit older. I think they're in their teens, right? Or they might be preteens. And so she'll move the phone around and talk about the kids, and he might even be with the kids, but he's out of the conversation, out of the picture, right? In his mind, the phone was being pointed at the kids with him deliberately cut out. Now, it's a story. But if these things are happening, one thing you can do is be dominant and insert yourself. Mm-hmm. Just insert yourself into it. Hey, what's up, Greg, or hey, what's up, her parents' name, and just say hi and insert yourself as if you don't notice anything and you don't care, right? Start there and see what happens. The next thing we want to look at is let's go back to the reason why she's doing this. We talked about, she is scared. She's creating distance because she's scared. She's scared that you guys are going to separate. She's lonely and she's trying to create space away from you. This is what most men do. What I did early on, this is now 10 years ago or so almost. What I did early on is I turn away, right? And you and I have talked about this privately, Tim, right? It's a natural thing for almost all guys. Your wife pushes away or shuts down, we push away too. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, screw you. I'm out. Opposite. So what I learned is you do the opposite. You turn in. It's almost like there's a storm, right? It's a huge hurricane coming your way. The natural reaction is turn and get the hell out of there. But that's the opposite thing to do in a marriage or relationship. Instead, if you want to be powerful in it, you turn towards the storm and you walk right into the eye of the storm, right? Confidently. That changes the whole situation. Then after that, go ahead.
Obviously done in a particular way, right? I don't want guys to listen to this and be like, right, I'm walking into the storm and then the storm gets worse. But yeah, there's a way to do it, which obviously you're going into right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into all the details on how to do it, guys. We've done a lot of podcasts on this. We'd be doing it for a long time. If you really want to learn the whole thing, I mean, we have an 8-week course on how to do it. But and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to hold anything back. It's a big conversation. It doesn't take, you don't all of a sudden go, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm going to walk into the eye of the storm and everything's going to be great. No.
No.
But, you stand in your power and you move that way. We've had guys that haven't been through the program that are in the Facebook group because we give all the information away for free. We're giving everything away to the guys, all of you. This is a movement of men, right? The course structure, and I'm going off on a tangent here. The course structure is a guaranteed way to get you there. Guaranteed. We'll get you there, right? But you can pick up bits and pieces, et cetera, and put things together. And hopefully it clicks for you. Awesome. We love it. And that's what we want. So for this situation, if she's moving away, right, and you're feeling it, you really want to insert yourself into that conversation. Now you can sit down and talk to her, and maybe you're at that place in your relationship, which is doubtful for most people if they're in a situation where you can say, hi, I just want to let you know that it hurts my feelings when I come upstairs, and it feels to me as if this is happening. Now, what this is occurring for me reminds me of my childhood when my mom did.
What it would provide me with if you include me.
Yeah. These are all formulas that counselors will give you and psychologists and relationship stuff. Doesn't work in this situation, guarantee it, unless you guys are further along in your relationship, right? You've done the work together. You've been through the shit together. And you've come out the other side. And you're a polished diamond going through the coal, right? Now, most of you guys aren't there, right? And I get that. You'd have to be doing this work for years to be on that place where you go through the whole formula that it's kind of funny. Tim and I have similar, we've heard similar ones. But you want to be there and you want to be in the eye of the storm. You got to realize what's going on. Does your wife need more attention from you, more affection from you? Probably. And are you following it? Are you walking around, coming out of your office, your home office, wherever it may be, with a ball of stress, walking into the house in the living room? Oh, I can't believe it. I was on a call with Tim and that jerk, you know what he did? He's just ranting and raving, and you throw this and you go back down. It's like the Tasmanian devil, right? My wife used to describe it. It's like you come in from the office and you're in this masculine energy. She told this to me, and you're there to conquer, and you come in and I'm in my flow, and you tear things up like a Tasmanian devil and you leave. And she's like, then I'm all anxious and not sure what to do with all of that. To me, I'm just talking here.
Problem with that?
Yeah. What? So, I mean, you want to look at the energy that you're bringing into the situation, right? And if she's truly lonely, that's a whole nother thing, guys, because she's going to fill that void with her friends, with her family, with you, or another guy. There's that guy from high school that's on Facebook, or whoever it is hitting her up on Messenger, on Instagram, or what have you. It seems subversive. Women are much better at hiding it than we are, guys. Much better. Maybe it's on LinkedIn or Twitter, Telegram. A million ways of doing it, right? And most apps have, the vanishing messages. On Telegram, if you see this within 3 seconds, the message is going to vanish. There's no record. So point being, she's going to fill it up. Now, if it's not loneliness per se, and she's just really looking at jumping ship, this is a sign, right? You need to make that ship that she's looking to jump more attractive if you want to keep her. We talked about this in another episode, Tim, of what's the one thing you can do to, I can't remember the title, save a sexless relationship or what have you. Listen to that, guys, and follow that plan immediately, today, now. Make sure you're doing those things. Now, there are cases where the relationship's just not, it's not salvageable, right? Either she doesn't want to, you don't want to, or both of you don't want to. Something's happened. It's not there. The mojo is not there. She's given up, you've given up, etc. But you want to make sure you understand the warning signs, right? Just like if I see smoke billowing out of my kitchen, probably a fire, probably an issue in there, right? So I know what to do. Grab a fire extinguisher, go in there, make sure it's taken care of, open windows, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with your relationship. We're just not taught this stuff, right? If she's ignoring you or cutting you out of the picture, so to speak, that is the billowing smoke coming out of your kitchen. You need to take action. You need to take action now. This is not the time to sit by the wayside, pout. Oh, why is she not including me? Why is her family not my family? No, get over it. You're a man, right? Those are things that my toddler would say. So it's time to, and I'm not trying to be harsh, guys. I'm just trying to wake you up so you don't go through the situation that this gentleman's going through. Or worse, which we've seen is guys come to us when this has been happening for over a year. The woman all of a sudden feels very safe to jump. She finds another guy, right? Her friends are helping her look. Her friends have already disconnected from him. The parents have already disconnected from him. Everything's been put in place. And so it's very easy for her to make a safe landing somewhere else. And it's not because she wanted to, by the way, because most women don't want to. It's just because she saw no alternative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she felt connected, desired, listened to, all of that stuff. You know, the hidden motives. Yeah. What we teach an activation method without, making it sound like a plug, it's kind of like baking a cake. You've got the recipes in the ingredients. You got ingredients in the recipe, rather. And, you miss out the flour, the cake doesn't rise. You miss out the jam and, the cake is tasteless. So the way the hidden motives technique works and the live as a king system and all those fun things is they all work together. Live as a king system. If you listen to the last podcast episode, that includes some of that stuff, which is great. That's going to pique her attention. Let's say she's doing these Zooms with a family. It's like, hey, I'm just off out for a run. You're not bothered. It's like, that's strange. She's not been out for a run for a year. You don't make a big fanfare of it. You just, hey, I'm out for a run.
Or you don't say anything. You just go for a run.
Yeah. What happened with the kid? She's on Zoom. You go out for a run.
The kids will survive.
There's no smoke billowing out the kitchen right now.
Yeah.
And then obviously the hidden motives technique. That's going to give you a way to really connect with her, so she feels. Basically, part of the reason as well why she's connecting with the family in this way. Yeah, she's like you say, looking to untangle and maybe jump ship, but also partly because of that is she'll be connecting with them and it'll feel so good. She's getting her emotional needs met, or some of them met anyway. And that's going to then validate her because she's going to jump into that conversation, feel great, jump off it, go into conversation with you. And there's distinct contrast there. I was right. He just doesn't get me. He just doesn't get it. Good. I just, would it be easier? Would I be happier? All that fun stuff. So anyway, hidden motives technique could give you a way to do that. And then obviously the clean slate method. I'm not going to go through all the tools, but anyway, you get the gist. So, I think like you've said, the warning signs, you've got to be aware of that smoke. Is she excluding you? Is she not wanting to talk about what got said? Is she doing it when you're not around? Is she also then on a phone a great deal? Let's say when she's off these Zooms, you sat there on an evening and she's just on a phone. Or maybe she's taken herself to another room to read a book. Or maybe you guys are eating dinner at different times, going to bed there's all these different warning signs that will also feed into this. Because sometimes, that getting left off a Zoom is sometimes a final warning sign. So you got some work to do if you're in that position.
Absolutely. So guys, like the smoke coming out of the kitchen, heed the warning signs. Not all smoke, though, is a fire, right? Sometimes someone's just burning some stuff. So it's okay. Just make sure you get in there and check it out, though. Either way, you want to make sure you're on front and on top of things, just like in business, right? These apply just as much to business as they do to relationships and coming through these. These are all holistic in their senses. Gentlemen, if this is your first time with us or you haven't been over there, which I can't believe you haven't, go ahead and go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus and get the Reignite cheat sheet, I believe is what we have up there, Tim. Try it out. We're giving it to you for free. It's just something for you to try to help reignite your fire in your relationship without the smoke and get that going in there. And if you haven't already, please leave us a review. It's how other men like you find us here. Tim and I love jumping on here and doing these recordings. We love the questions and comments we've been getting from you guys, and keep those coming along as well so we know what topics you guys want to talk about. Because otherwise, Tim and I just get in here and we just chat, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys as well, because that's why we do it. Anyway, gentlemen, have an amazing day. As always, take action, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are two types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, wolf is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here, so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated, because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.